you in order to talk about why, if you are serious to go to the cloud, you will need a specific cloud governance. Now, we'll let you know as well how to start it up. So the first question is why? Why you can't stay with the team that you have or with the organization that you have in place when you move to the cloud? So there are two legs out of it. The first one will be, will you be able to harvest all the cloud opportunities? Oh, why it's moving? Oh, I think we got a small technical problem. So the first reason is to make sure that you got the right PowerPoint working. Wait a second. Problem of PowerPoint. So, yeah, I will do it with a slide. No, it's starting up. So let's try it. So the first reason was why. And you will need to make sure that you can harvest, all the cloud opportunities that you will be able to have. So that's number one. The second is you will have to mitigate the risk. What we want to make sure is that first, you take all you can get from the cloud. It will democratize whatever you are, a small, medium, or large company. What cloud brings, it brings you the same IT standards as a multinational, even if you are a small company. So that's one. It brings you as well economy of scale. But all of this, you notice. Some of the things that you should leverage is all the new way that cloud enables you to consume IT. Number one is on demand. So it's like the lights on. You switch it on when you need it, you switch it off, hopefully, when you don't need it. The second is self-service. You need to make sure that when you work with your organization, you don't carry on working with ticketing. You can make a ticket, but put some automation into that to make sure that it will provision automatically, what you need, especially. Infrastructure as code. With infrastructure as code, you will have the possibility, to generate and create your infrastructure based on your code. So even more automation that you will have with that. Scale in minutes. You are a small or medium company or even a large, you want to address different markets, you can just scale in a different region with your AWS infrastructure. And at the end of the day, have a fine-grained knowledge of your cost. Everybody will know me. Yeah, I do know my cost, my fixed cost for my entire IT. But do I know what do they represent for a single app? Do I know what it is per customer that are clicking on my website? Thanks to tagging, and if you do all the good practices that we ask for, cloud will enable you to get those data points. So basically, we've seen that cloud is a technical migration at first, but if you don't work on your processes and on your people, you may not harvest all the opportunity that clouds can provide you. So some question for you. Maybe with cloud, it's time to rethink your status quo. Do you have some silo in your IT organization? Do you have some silo in between your IT and your line of businesses? Question mark. I guess you may have some. Maybe it's an opportunity to leverage the cloud as a program in order to try to connect all those teams more together. Second is, what is the time that you get in your company to test new ideas? You get an idea today. Do you need 6 to 8 weeks to provision a new server, or can you try it directly with the cloud? If it works, you carry on, you scale it automatically. If it doesn't, you just shut it down and you retry. So you mitigate the cost of innovation if you provide the right processes and automation to your users. The third one is your resilience strategy. As part of your application that you got for your customer or internally, some of them are key differentiator for your verticals. Some of them may be less critical. What you want to make sure is that you have a real resilience strategy based on the criticality of your apps. If this is an app that is taking some orders, how much it costs you if it's done for 1 hour? So how can you leverage the high reliability of the cloud in order to make sure that this does not happen? On the other end of your application portfolio, if you have an application that is just doing acronyms of your internal acronyms of your company, maybe it's not that important if it's done, 1 hour or 2 hours. So you need to make sure that your resilience strategy is in line with the criticality of your application. And the last one, but the most critical one, is IT at the moment, as part of the department, an engine for innovation, or is it still a blocker for you? So, and it's one that you cannot solve only with technical part. Because what we're talking about now is operating model. Operating model is basically the way that the business and IT work together in terms of processes, people, capabilities, in order to align on strategic business outcome. And guess what? In a lot of companies, this is not the case. We have IT on one side that is working on siloed with a specific operating model, the business line as well. But when you look at the services and the product that you provide today, most of them do have a component of digital, if not all of them. So, however, when you look at the output that is expecting by the business, you will see that business wants some innovation. They want some value creation. They want to be able to have speed and agility. However, when you look at IT in terms of metrics that they often got, legacy, we will talk about cost optimization, we will talk about operation excellence, and we will talk about security and compliance. All of them are important. But are you sure that they are aligned on the way that you are operating? So cloud will not solve that by itself. You know, it's just a new way of consuming IT. You will need to work as a program with your team, with your processing, working backward on your business IT goals in order to change your IT to become your business engine. So we talk about the opportunities, but what about the risk if you don't take a specific cloud governance on your cloud program? Typical journey in the cloud starts with a project, hopefully successful. If not, you don't carry on. Then you move to start to do the foundation of it, the security, the landing zone. You move to mass migration, and then hopefully when you become the Netflix of your vertical, you reinvent yourself as part of the cloud. However, this journey comports some risks. The first risk is after a first workload that has been moved, thanks to your most tech-savvy people as part of your company, there is a stall because as a company, you don't know how to scale it to your entire business, to your entire company or business units. And basically, after a first success, you are not able to change the way that you are operating. We can see that a lot in big companies that got some small startup incubating as part of their company. The startup works perfectly, but they do have some change to change the legacy. The second is chaotic use. I've told you with cloud, you are able basically to switch on the server when you want it. However, like when you go out of a room, you don't need to forget to switch it off. You know, my kids, they always do that. And so I make sure that I need to retell themselves. I need to put some guardrail. I still got my phone to be able to see if the lights are on, so it's good, and I can close them if I want to. You should think the same for the cloud, you know. You need to work with the team that will work on it to make sure that you apply the good practices to switch out the servers on weekend if this is for internal use, for example. You need also to make sure that you have the right business case because with the cloud, you can have tons of different machines from the smallest one to one with big GPU cards. And if we are talking about the acronyms apps, that was not so important for your company. Not sure that you want them to use GPUs on that. So make sure that you right size, you know, the infrastructure based on your use case. The last risk that we can see on cloud projects are business risk. You start, you work on your migration, you are 1 to 2 weeks of the go live, and the security team is coming. Your fault. You did not involve them from beginning, but they didn't want to come because nothing was built. So guess what? They look about your project and they find out that maybe it's not entirely to the security standard that they wanted it to be. So that's a third risk that we are seeing frequently when the team has not set up the right governance in place for their cloud journey. So now that we talk about the different risks, what we do recommend is that after that you've done a first project on the cloud, to try it out, to see the values, prior to moving to mass migration, make sure that you have a cloud team that will be able to handle this cloud-specific governance. So now we talk about the why, and hopefully you are convinced. Let's look about what are the different components of the why that you will have to look on this governance. We'll see the 3 risks that we have talked about in order to mitigate them. The first one is you need to make sure that you are building the right cloud for your line of businesses. what you are trying to achieve and work backwards from that in order to provide them the right capabilities for them to innovate and put workloads that will meet the business verticals. Security and compliance. You need to have, as part of your team and as part of your governance, some security handshake in order that in all the products that you are bringing to your development team, you build in the security as part of the blocks that you provide to the developer. Thanks to the cloud, you can have, agility and security at the same time, but you need to make sure that the team is building those building blocks. The second part as well that we got with the cloud is thanks to that, hopefully if you have done it well, you will have much less shadow IT. So you will be able to have an audit, continuous audit in terms of compliance and security of all your IT environment. So that should please normally your CISO. Efficient execution. I've seen some companies, I will not name it, it's not name and shame, that moved all their infrastructure to the cloud, but they are still cutting tickets in order to ask for a database. With cloud, you can provide this opportunity of self-service to your developer. You don't need to cut a ticket because DBA is much more than just opening a new database. You can level them up in order to work on the strategy of your database globally. What do you have in terms of legacy database? How you want to move out maybe from some of them? What is your strategy specifically to IoT, to documents, and so on? And you want to make sure that you automate as much as you can with the cloud. Because if you don't do that, you will have a 20-30% cost savings, but you will not harvest, all the opportunities that cloud can provide you. The last one, and that should be the first mission of the cloud, CCOE, so the Cloud Center of Excellence, is effective adoption. How are you making sure that you are sharing best practices and that each of your team is not reinventing the wheel? How do you make sure that you have a training to all those people that may be new to the cloud, but they are all your best asset? Because if you have somebody that is working in network, in compute as part of your data center, that will be the perfect people to work, on your cloud as cloud architects in future job. But you need to make sure that you level them up. And if you have been here at 12, a little bit before with Daniel and Remy, you will have known, all the possibilities that we got to train your people as part of your company. So how to set it up? No, it's good. We've talked about the theory, but how do I start? It's thanks, Joss, for talking about that, but I would like to know how to start. You start by 2 pizza. This is a concept in Amazon that some of you may know, but we say that a team should not be bigger than a team that can be fed with 2 pizza. 2 American pizza, of course, but 2 pizza. So what we are looking at is around 8 to 12 people. This is the ideal Cloud Center of Excellence that I will recommend, basically 10 people. However, if you are a medium company or a small company, I do have a degraded model that you can start up with. So the first one is cloud leader. Make sure that you have somebody that will be able to brand, to take, what are the business goals from the leader, from IT, from the different C-level, from marketing, sales, and be able to come back and be the one that represents the team. Product owner to liaise with your business and make sure that you build the right cloud. Financial analyst. If you have a FinOps, I guarantee that in less than 6 months, you have some return on investment. I've been asking this question for the last 4 years to the people, and each time that they put a FinOps in the job, in 6 months, their cost was covered. So that's really something that I encourage from day one. Cloud architect to give and to have some cohesion and some coherence as part of your cloud. And of course, the platform engineers that will work on the built-in security, the CI/CD, the telemetry, in order for you to be able to operate your cloud. So if you're looking at this presentation in your small company or medium company, you can start only with 3 people. What you will have is the product owner will also be the cloud leader, as an example. You will have the cloud architect that will play the role of FinOps. You will have 1 or 2 platform engineers, and you can start with that. And HR can be your partner in order to work on organization change management as well as training. Now that you have your team, you can ask me, so what do I need to do next? First is level them up. This is all the role that we can see normally in IT, and we have put basically what this role could be in the cloud. So what we want to tell you is you don't have to hire a brand new team. You can have, one consultant to help you in order to get more effective at start, or two. That's always a plus. However, you can have also some of our internal consultants to support you. However, the most important is how this partner or these professional services will transfer the knowledge to your team, because you want to be the one that will be empowered by the cloud that you are building. One thing, again, is start small and think big. So Andy Jassy, that is now the CEO of Amazon that started, AWS, is telling this sentence that I think is very true. Don't let the paralysis stop before you start. I've been working with some customer that we discussed 1 year ago about the same topics, and they were a bit afraid not to have the perfect team or the perfect start for their cloud team. Start small. It will not be perfect at the moment. You will start to build some first capabilities. You will not have a full CI/CD automated. That's okay. You can live with that. If you have backup and restore, if you have the right first capability, you will be able to handle it like this. And as part of the next step, the most important is defining the mission of this cloud team. How to make sure that this cloud team got a mandate and a very well-scoped one. Are they there only to control, in terms for you not to innovate, or to expand and make sure that the team is able to adopt cloud as a higher velocity? With this definition, you will be able to set your KPIs for your team. How can you show that you are doing progress on your cloud team, on your cloud governance, if you are not measuring it in terms of agility, in terms of cost, in terms of security risk that you could have, and then be able to launch, your first MVP one. And we got some example of that. This is one of the cloud mission that I provide to my customer, generally speaking. I want them to tune it for their specific use case, for their specific vertical. But basically, if you look at all the components of this sentence, to enable accelerated, effective, and sustainable adoption of the cloud across the enterprise, maximizing the ability to realize its benefits while reducing its risk, I think we covered a lot. We covered all the opportunities while mitigating the risk, and as well as having the right adoption. Some potential performance metrics that you can have would be on adoption. How are you making progress in your company to make sure that your late majority is coming and adopting cloud? How to make sure that the last people that were not, cloud native are working on this. Agility. Amazon.com, we got 50 million of release per year. It means that during this presentation of 20 minutes, there were 1,900 release of Amazon.com. So maybe you don't want to go to this step yet, but how could it be, if you can increase by 50%, 2 times, 3 times the number of release that your application team are doing? Risk score. We talk about this. There are a lot in the CISO organization, a lot of prioritization of the priorities of the anomalies. So basically, if you can, and the cloud can help you to remediate automatically some of them, that's already a burden and a workload that your security team will not have to handle. And return on investment, of course. How are you making sure that you are showing the new power of this cloud as well as the economy of scale of the cloud? I will not go into details with the MVP one. That's an example that we recommend, when you start the cloud team with 3 to 4 people on your first capabilities that you will have to work on all the different topics. That looks a little bit scary. That's not so scary, I promise you. But basically with that, you will be able to start and be able to have the right cloud governance. So don't hesitate, to, as a next step, to look about our white paper on cloud operating model that we have done. It will provide you, some topics about cloud governance, as well as how you can change, the way that IT and your business are operating together. Second is, if you are serious about that and that you want to start your first cloud team, get advice with your account team. Come and get them. If you are a large company, it's We will have certainly a CSM, so a Customer Solution Manager from my team that will be able to help you on the ad hoc. If you don't, we will, on a timely basis, we will provide you for free some people that can provide you some guidance on your mission statement, UK, and so on. And if you want to have hand-to-hand, in the first 30 days or first 6 months to help you to build this cloud governance and cloud team, we got a huge community of partners that are well trained on how to do that. We also have some professional services, but the most important will be how to make sure that this community of partners and these professional services transfer the knowledge to you. So, thank you. I hope this was a useful session. Don't hesitate to come back afterwards. We will be there in the next 3 days, talking about cloud and what are the challenges and opportunities that you have. My name was Jocelyn, so that's my LinkedIn there, and don't hesitate to provide feedback on the session. Thank you so much. Have a good VivaTech. Thank you.